If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that I'm a lover of OCs. I've made plush, figures, keychains, and felt photo cards of my characters previously, so obviously the next step is making a full-on Ita bag. Now, if you weren't aware, Ita bags are essentially bags that show your intense love for a character. Usually people use clear bags so that they can display a variety of pins, keychains, and other merchandise of their favorite character. I could go on and tell you the origins of Ita bags and oshikatsu culture and all that, but honestly that doesn't really matter for the purposes of this video, especially because some people don't consider Ita bags with OCs to be actual Ita bags, but I'm using the term anyways because it makes life a lot easier. I'm sure there will be some discourse about that in the comments regardless, so just go ahead and leave that comment. The point is that I love seeing all the creative things people do with Ita bags and admire how dedicated some people are to their favorite characters. What interested me specifically was the use of rosettes and button decoration in many bags. These decorations are often made with ribbon and will sometimes form a flower shape or just generally look really nice. People use them to frame their buttons and make for an aesthetically pleasing bag, so that's what I wanted to learn how to do. This video will essentially be going over multiple crafts you can learn to make your very own Ita bag. I'll be talking about how you can make your own custom buttons, how to make rosettes and other fun decorations, where to get materials for everything, and how to arrange your bag and put everything together. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. The first step to making an Ita bag is to get a lot of pins, and in the case that you're making an OC Ita bag like me, there's no official source you can buy merchandise from. So the next best thing is to make your own using a button machine. The one I have is the Amazon Hapiza button maker machine. I have this 75mm one, which means the buttons come out quite large. I'll show you the size next to my hand so you can decide what size works best for you, but the smaller button machines are usually cheaper. You can also get machines that make multiple button sizes, so that's also worth considering. I know I saw a lot of videos of people getting this button machine for Christmas, so I figured I'd make this video revolving around this button machine since it's the most accessible and the one it seems like a lot of people have. Now, if you don't have the money for a button machine, there's many websites out there that will print custom buttons for you at a very cheap price. Vogue Race is one website that comes to mind. I've bought custom OC keychains from them before, which I'll be using on this bag. And just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by them, but they can totally hit me up for one because I love all their options for custom merch. Corporate shilling aside, I'll be showing you how to use this button machine since it took me a bit to figure out. As for materials, if you buy the one I did, it comes with everything you need. You really just need to print out the photos you'd like to turn into buttons. As with my other videos, I printed these out at Office Depot because the printers there are better than the ones I have at home. These were done on regular printer paper and cost less than $1, so I'd say it's worth it to save money on ink and get better results. As for how I printed these to size, I just used Canva to size my buttons. When you create a shape on Canva, it will show you the size of the shape, and because my button maker size is 75mm, I decided to make each circle round 85mm. You want to make them bigger than the actual button in case it comes out off center. In some of these buttons, the head was a bit too close to the top of the button, so I try to position your image fairly centered for the best results. I have a Canva template link in my description for 75 and 58mm buttons, so feel free to use that. You can easily put your photos in there and print it out, and if it's on regular printer paper, it should be the perfect size. But after I had all my images, I used the provided paper cutter to cut out each button. Ideally, you would have a cutting mat for this, but I didn't have one on hand, so I just used the back of a sketchbook. Just make sure you aren't cutting the table underneath. It's fairly simple to use, but if you're unsure, then you could always use a scrap piece of paper to test it out. This button maker came with a book full of practice images, so I used that for my test run. After that, we can finally make the buttons. I assembled my machine using the instructions provided to me, so now I can put everything. Your machine will come with instructions for how to make the actual buttons as well, but I figured I'd show how I made mine in case you need a visual example. First, you take one of the metal covers and put it in the shallow side. You'll know it's the correct side because there's a circular groove that it will fit into perfectly. After that, you can put in the piece of paper with your image, making sure that it's right side up so you can see the character. Then place a sheet of this thin, shiny film on top. This just gives your button the nice shiny finish that makes it feel official. The next part is where I ran into some trouble and got a little confused. You want to move the button underneath the pressing part of the machine and press down, but make sure that the pin on the side doesn't pass through the hole. That's where I initially got confused, so make sure it's not coming through the hole when you press down. You should hear a click after pressing down. Usually it doesn't take too much force, but if you don't hear one, you can always release the lever and try again. Adding too much force can cause it to break, which I definitely did, so learn from my mistake. After you hear that click, you can release the lever and the button should be stuck to the top part of the machine. Sometimes my machine gets stuck and won't fully release, so I just manually lift the top part of my machine so it releases itself from the first compartment. After that, you'll put the actual button backing into the second compartment, the deeper one with the metal ring. Just like it shows in the tutorial image, you want to make sure the pin is facing down, so nothing should be sticking up when you place the pin backing in. After that, you can slide the second compartment under the machine and press down until you hear a click. This time though, make sure the pin passes through the hole. This one usually requires more force, but I didn't find it too hard. Once you hear that click, after you release, the button should come out fully finished. You can now take it out and you'll have a professional looking button of your OC. I ran into some problems when I was first figuring out my machine, so it might be wise to print out some copies of your buttons so you can try again if needed, or if it comes out off center. I also ended up printing out some buttons for my Agnes Digital Ita Bag I'll be making later in this video, and some funny Luffy ones for my sister's Ita Bag. As a side note, if you're making an Ita Bag for an existing character, I would advise you to use official art or art you have personally made when creating buttons. It's just generally bad practice to use other people's art without permission, especially creating merch with their designs. Even for personal use, it can hurt their business and just generally be a rude thing to do. So I stuck with official art for mine since I don't really care about hurting the pockets of side games. But now that we have our buttons, we can decorate them. So let's move on to our rosettes and card decorations. This section might be a bit complicated to explain since there's no one way of making rosettes or decorating photo cards. So I'll be going over a couple of sewing and decorating techniques I learned that you can apply to make whatever kind of rosette or decoration you like. But first, let's talk materials. The main thing you'll need is ribbons. They're the best for making these kinds of decorations, and satin ribbons are the easiest to work with. You can get a variety of ribbons, but I found that medium-sized ones are the easiest to work with when it comes to making ruffles and general decorations. Around 3/4 of an inch should be good, but I ended up getting a variety of different ribbons I could work with. As for where I bought them, the main place I visited was craft stores. Hobby Lobby isn't the most ideal place to shop, but the ribbon is extremely cheap and you could find any color you'd need, as well as lace. I also found some fun decorations that I used in my rosettes, so it's a good place to get some cheap charms and stuff like that. Michael's ribbon is honestly way too expensive, but they do have these bulk ribbon sets for $10 that I found to be a good price. I ended up getting this set that was perfect for my girlfriend's character, so they're worth checking out for that alone. Although many of these ribbons are harder to work with because of their size, but you can certainly use them for extra decoration. Their lace is also pretty cheap. My local dollar store didn't have any ribbon, but I was able to find one farther away that did. Because it's so close to Valentine's Day, you can get really cute, fun ribbons and basic colors for cheap. Definitely worth checking out if you'd like cheap ribbon. Those are my main recommendations for ribbon and extra decoration. If you aren't sure what kind to pick up, you can always watch this video further and decide from there. Otherwise, if you're going to try and pleat ribbon or make ruffles, you'll need a sewing machine or a simple needle and thread. You can also use a stapler, but I haven't used that method, so I'm not sure how good it'll turn out, but you can certainly use that. I chose to use my sewing machine because it just generally made it easier, but I was able to achieve the same results by hand sewing. You don't need to worry too much about the color of your thread or the neatness of your sewing because the button will cover most of it, and you can always layer ribbon to hide any mistakes. The hardest part of pleating is really just getting the ribbon to stay down and not be annoying. As for the actual sewing, it's nothing difficult, and you could just learn a simple front stitch and be fine. If you don't know how to sew, then I'll be showing you some non-sewing rosette designs, and all you'll need for those is a hot glue gun. You'll definitely be needing a lot of hot glue in general, but that should do it in terms of materials. The amount of materials you'll need is really up to how fancy you'd like your design and whatnot. So let's get into the actual process of making these things. What I like to do first is use a piece of felt as a base. I put my button on the felt and cut around it, making a felt piece in the size of my button. This just makes it easier to arrange my rosette and figure out where everything goes, but you can use another piece of fabric as a base as well. I put my button on the felt and cut around it, making a felt piece the size of my button. This just makes it easier to arrange my rosette and figure out where everything goes, but you can use another piece of fabric as a base as well. Next is coming up with the actual design. I've been using Pinterest as inspiration for my rosettes, which I have linked in the description. I struggled a bit with fully visualizing what I wanted, so sometimes it's just easier to pick a few colors and just go for it. I'll be showing you a couple designs you can use, so soon you'll be able to make whatever your heart desires. With that, let's get started. The first thing I want to show you guys is pleating. Now, I'm awful with pleating. Ribbon can be really hard to work with, and pleating involves folding the ribbon in on itself to form the pleat, which can be a bit tricky to keep in place. There's also different kinds of pleats. Some can look like pleated skirts, known as box pleats, or you can fold them onto each other to form knife pleats. I chose knife pleats for my rosettes because that's what I saw a lot of people doing, but box pleats are probably a bit easier to do. But with knife pleats, they naturally formed a circle as I was sewing, so it was kind of easy on that front. I chose to make my pleats by sewing, which involved folding the ribbon and using pins to keep it in shape before sewing along the edge. I used a sewing machine for this because it was a bit easier to fold as I went, using the sewing machine to keep the ribbon in place, but you can hand sew these as well. I found these pretty difficult to do either way, so you might want to look into doing these things with a stapler. I haven't tried it myself since I don't have a stapler to use, but the description has a video on pleating with the stapler, as well as a video about how to sew different ruffles and pleats for a clearer tutorial on this. I know mine's a bit hard to see with my hand all in the way. I honestly watched a few videos and just winged it, so I probably made my pleats a lot more complicated than they actually needed to be. I'm pretty satisfied with the results either way though, and I layered a bunch of stuff on top to cover up my mediocre pleating anyways. I also used a bit of glue to keep the shape of my ruffles, making it look cleaner. It can be a bit of trial and error trying to figure out how long to make your ruffles, but just keep using the felt circle as reference and you'll be fine. If the ruffles are still giving you trouble, you can buy some pre-pleated ribbon at some stores, and I've also found a tutorial on Pinterest to achieve a similar look without any sewing, so you can just use glue. Making ruffles for photo cards is a lot easier since you have to do a lot fewer, and I ended up sewing in the middle of my ribbon instead of the end to achieve this look. So I definitely explore different types of pleats you can do, different designs you could do with that ribbon and such. It might be easier than what I did. You can also make a lot of designs by simply folding ribbon, layering it on top of each other to make a design. I folded this big blue ribbon, gluing it together and then arranging it to look like a flower. It served as a great base for my button. You can also use this technique to make ribbons which appear more full than if you just tied it. I layered some of the smaller ribbons on top of the larger ones to add some more patterns into the bow. Another thing I tried was folding the ribbons on top of each other to make pointy edges, arranging them to form a flower-like pattern. These were extremely easy to do and came out really great, and I was even able to use a similar folding method on smaller ribbons to enhance the design. So even if you can't sew, it's easy to make beautiful designs by just folding ribbon. I was able to do something similar for these roses made out of ribbon. I'll leave a tutorial in the description, but essentially you just need to fold a bunch of small pieces of ribbon into petals and glue them on top of each other to form a rose. I didn't do the tutorial exactly right, and I still really like the final product, so I definitely give it a try if you want some fun decorations for your rosette. It definitely looks more complicated than it actually is. Once you figure out how to make the petals just by folding a couple sides of the ribbon, then it's super easy to put together. And you can do this entirely with glue, so there's no sewing required. The Pinterest board in the description has even more decorative ribbon techniques for you to try out, so really try mixing and matching these different techniques to match whatever style rosette you'd like. Once you get the basic patterns down and figure out pleating, you can make anything. I used similar techniques for some photo cards, using a combination of pleating and ribbon folding to make an appealing frame that matched my rosette. The Pinterest board also has some fun photo card inspo for you, so try it out if you'd like. You can also make felt photo card holders or decorate your photo cards with stickers, which I cover in my other craft videos. You can also use various small decorations to enhance your rosettes, like this jewelry I found at this craft store, which I put in the middle of my bow. I also like using lace, whether that be the frilly kind or the small kind I put on my photo card holder. It's a good way to cover up the sewn part of the pleating and just makes it look a bit nicer. But with that, you should have your beautiful decorations for your Ita bag ready, so now we can move on to putting the actual Ita bag together. As always, let's cover materials first. I'm a bit new to Ita bag decorating, so I searched online for some bag options. A lot of people suggested Etsy, but there was a lot of bags that seemed to be resold at higher prices from AliExpress, so I just got my bag from there. But those bags won't be too high quality, so I'd be careful about that if you're planning on using it a lot. I'd also just make sure to check reviews to see the quality of the bag. There are some sellers on Etsy who have high quality original bags, and I've also seen a lot of Ita bags on Kickstarter that have such fun and unique designs. I'm still really mad I missed this pre-order for a 3DS Ita bag by Poonfroon. It is so adorable. If they ever re-release it, I'm immediately hopping on that and making a Tomodachi Life bag, I swear. I've ordered bags from Kickstarter and independent sellers before and have been super happy with the results, so I'd suggest that the most for more unique and higher quality Ita bags. If you guys have any other places to get Ita bags that you would recommend, please put it in the comments. I'm hoping this video can also be kind of like a group project since I'm not too experienced with Ita bags. I'm hoping people who are can come in the comments and give their advice and their resources. I also found these Ita bag decoration accessory kits off of AliExpress, which came with ruffles, bows, and some mini decorations that I used to fill up my bag. Some of the stores I listed before may also have some pre-pleated ribbon you could use if you'd like some for the insert of your Ita bag. If you have a Daiso near you, that's also a great place to shop for Ita Bag decorations. They have some clear plastic bags to put plushies in, and they have a bunch of photo card holders. I also got some little decorative stickers from there that were really nice, so would recommend. Along with this, I ended up getting a half yard of this pattern fabric to use on the back of my Ita bag, as well as some cardboard, but you can also use mesh, which might be easier. But with that, let's move on to the construction. When you get your Ita bag, it should already come with some kind of backing that you can take out. I used that as a base, tracing over some cardboard before cutting it out. Just make sure that your cardboard or mesh base fits in your bag snugly before continuing, since you don't want it moving around that much. I'm sure you can also use your original bag insert, but I just chose to use cardboard because it was a bit more stable. And also I saw a lot of other people doing that, so I will trust in them. Thin cardboard is probably ideal for this part, but I just used some I had lying around and it was fine. It can be quite hard to put buttons in thicker cardboard, but I didn't have too much trouble with my insert and all my buttons stayed fine. You kind of just have to poke it in. Next, you want to cover the insert with fabric, cutting it a bit larger than your insert and gluing all the sides down. With that, you now have a good base for your Ita bag, and now you can arrange things the way you'd like. I'm including some footage of my Agnes Digital Ita bag since that one is larger than my OC Ita bag, and I was able to use the ribbon on the outside of the insert. On my smaller one, the Rosettes and Decorations I made covered most of the bag, so I didn't need to add too much to make it look good. The Pinterest board in the description has some Ita bag insert inspo, so you can see how some other people arrange theirs. People make absolutely gorgeous Ita bags, so seeing what fun themes others come up with was really inspiring and helped me form my own Ita bag. But once you're satisfied with the insert, you can slide it into your bag and be finished. But of course, part of the fun of owning a bag is to decorate it with keychains and trinkets. For my OC Ita bag, I added some custom keychains I got from Vogue Grace and this Miku keychain from Elusive Lisa. I also added this photo card holder I made in my first craft video, along with some various blue keychains to go along with the theming. And as for my Agnes Digital Ita bag, I ended up making a custom plush of her to add on to my bag. The pattern I used is slightly different, but you could find the tutorial for this tiny plush in my second craft video on this channel. The official plush for her sells for like $100, and I consider myself a DIY queen at this point, so I really enjoyed being able to make my own cute merch for one of my favorite characters. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video wasn't too confusing. It was a bit hard explaining some of the techniques I used, but even if my explanations weren't the best, hopefully the description provides you with enough resources to be able to make your own Ita bag. I'm sure it would have been cheaper to buy custom rosettes than get all these materials, but I just find way more enjoyment and pride in making things myself. Especially because I was able to include all sorts of crafts I've made before into my Ita bag, it really does feel like a culmination of all the fun skills I've learned trying to make myself OC merch. So hopefully this can serve as a satisfying experience for you too. As a digital artist, doing things with my hands is always just really cathartic for me, so I'm hoping others can have that same experience. Ita bags at their core are meant to express your love for a character, so what's better than handcrafting one yourself? If you have any other crafts or ideas you'd like me to try, leave it down below. I love making these types of videos, so I'd love to make even more and expand my OC shrine even further. But with that was today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and yeah, bye!